Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go. Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Opinion Stated. Before I even jump into this content, if you haven't already, do me a huge favor. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content such as this. Even click that notification button so that you're alerted whenever my new content is uploaded. I have an incredibly honest episode for you here. This particular episode, I'm going to entitle Team USA, Save the Excuses, Bring Home Gold. And this particular episode is actually centered around comments made in a press conference, of sorts, a few days ago prior to the opening of the Olympics. This particular press conference, or who was being interviewed during, was Steph Curry and also Kevin Durant. During this press conference, they just kind of made a statement that I want to center, focus around. And also the soundbite that I'm going to play here actually is, extracted from ESPN. So you'll hear the voices first of Steph Curry and then Kevin Durant. And then you'll hear Chiney Ogwumike actually chime in to just add some context to the stat. But enough of me. Let's take a listen to the soundbite.
You see that thing where they said the Dream Team played against nine
right?
9 NBA players, and it's like 60 something.
Yeah, we're playing against 65, 64 NBA players now, and so they all the best of the best in the world, so.
Let's fact check because those numbers were close but not exact. If you want to see just how much the game has grown since the 92 Dream Team, look at this. There were 5 active NBA players outside of Team USA in the 92 Olympics. This year, the rest of the field has 51 active NBA players, including MVPs Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
All right. So first of all, I don't know what it is. Like, this was being kicked around a lot in the media after these statements were made, and actually even prior to these statements being made. I have even suggested in previous videos that the world is catching up in terms of talent and skill set wise in basketball to the talent, our supreme talent of professional basketball players. However, there's this notion being kicked around in mainstream media, especially because in the present, we have, according to Chiney's, statistics, 51 active NBA players who are a part of the international teams that make up the crop of Olympic, those who are being competitive, that somehow, given the 5 active players back in 92, relative to the 51 players who are active on rosters that, populate the other teams that make up the Olympic teams outside of the U.S. Olympic team, that maybe the suggestion is that somehow, that's why they can't blow out these teams. That's why the games are more competitive. And, I want to push back on that notion, to be, quite frank and to be honest. And there's a reason that I want to do that. It's not because I don't understand that, from the standpoint of reality, that there are the difference in number between 5 and 51 is great, right? But that between 5 and 92 and 51 presently in 2024. However, let's be real. You know what I mean? I want to keep it all the way real here. The NBA season consists of an 82 game schedule. This present, or as it stands in the, the international competitions, national team competitions, and namely the Olympics in this case, we have the 5 warm-up games. There will be 8 games that get us all the way through to the gold medal games. And, if we are so fortunate to get there. So I do want to say that given that truth, given those facts, going back to the 51 players that comprise or that are sprinkled in on some of these other teams that represent the other teams from the other countries outside of the United States of America. Each team has a 12-man roster. 51 does not make up, the entire rosters of any of these teams. The only team that actually contains 12 active players from the NBA is the United States team. That's a fact. The other teams just have a sprinkling, a couple players here at max. I think Canada might have the absolute most, right? Secondarily, and back to the 82 game NBA schedule. The NBA literally has an 82 game schedule where a team full of NBA talent, as Kevin Durant put it, best of the best in the world. Steph Curry's like, yeah. Best of the best in the world. All 30 teams in the NBA are made up of 100% NBA players. And in the NBA season week, every single night that you tune in, you will witness an NBA team full of NBA talent, top to bottom in these rosters being blown out. So the suggestion is somehow that because there's a sprinkling of NBA players on these teams, these Olympic teams that make up, these other countries, teams that are representing for them, that's the reason that they aren't being blown out, then make it make sense. Like, seriously, make it make sense. Help me understand how we get blowouts in the NBA, 82 games, but we can't get a blowout in 5 to 13 games. Make it make sense. Without full NBA rosters, the best of the best. But we're watching the best of the best during a normal NBA season get routed. Come on, bro. This seems like a baked in, excuse that's already, let's kind of get this out there now. Steph Curry. Yeah. Let's get this out there now. Let's get ahead of it. Feels like damage control to me. Like this baked in excuse. So that if by chance they do lose, then they can just say, man, we told you. Talent's gotten better, man. It's more NBA players, the best of the best in the NBA. Now, am I suggesting that the best of the best are not in the NBA? No, I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying that if I say that, that's a statement that is made much like Kevin Durant stated it, much like Steph Curry agrees, and much like many of you agree that the best of the talent is in the NBA. But that's just your opinion, right? When I grew up playing basketball in DC, I grew up in Northeast DC, Stronghold to be exact. If I went down to KC Lewis to play basketball, there were some very talented basketball players down there, incredibly talented. So I couldn't be like the best of the best in the world is over here where I live, because that would be foolish. If I went down to Edgewood to play, there were some talented basketball players there. If I went to Maryland U to play, there were some incredibly talented basketball players there. If I went over to Berry Farms to play, Watts, Shaw, etc., there were gifted basketball players everywhere. So I can't just be like, well, the best of the best are right here. I know that outside of DC, DC's just DC. It doesn't make up the entire roster for the NBA. So there are great basketball players everywhere. So the fact that there were only 5 in 92 that were active in the NBA, and there are 51 present day, merely speaks to the notion or the reality of David Stern's vision to globalize the game more. There were players back then that were drafted by teams, but they weren't so ready to make the jump into the NBA. So they get drafted, but they wouldn't come over to play. It would take many of them years. In fact, it took Arvydas Sabonis many years to wrap up his career international before he decided to make the jump over into the NBA. And Tony Kukoc is another that I can just cite off the top of my head. But there are many who did the same thing. So there were players back in 92 who could have been signed by an NBA team. Not to say that the talent wasn't good enough to be signed, and that's why there were only 5. It's that the game has become more global. We're more apt to go over and get these players, and these players are more apt to come over and play now. So it's a little bit different. But that doesn't mean the talent and competition worldwide isn't good. And that doesn't mean that just because there are 51 active NBA players is that somehow makes the teams more competitive. The players are still the players, bro. So whether they were signed to the NBA or not, they'd still be good. The real problem, as I see it, in my opinion, is that the NBA, again, has become such a ballet. It's sports entertainment. It's literally just, let's just get up and down and razzle dazzle and excite the crowd. And you scored and I scored. And the more points we score, we saw that was a problem where points being scored in the league earlier in the year, this past season, was just so ridiculous that it made the games they're not competitive. The game's not that entertaining. We like to see basketball played on both sides of the ball, not just the offensive side. Defense is necessary also. And so the problem is that they're not pushing each other in the present NBA, as our U.S. team is made up of the best in the world. 15 or 12 of the best of the best. The problem is when they're separate on their teams in the NBA, they really aren't pushing each other to be the absolute best that they can be. There's no real passion, man. Or the switch hasn't been made once you enter international competition, that the ballet of the NBA is over. The international competition is about winning. It's about winning gold. It's about dominating. It is about proving on the world stage that you are the best of the best, and not just claiming from the United States that you are the best of the best in the world. Not just winning an NBA championship, a National Basketball Association championship, and calling yourself a world champion. It's not an actual world champion. The Olympics is where you get the opportunity to actually prove that you are a world champion. Team USA, get it together, yo. Grow a pair. Grow a pair, bro. You guys need to bring it. Get out there, dominate. Don't play with these cats. Stop playing around. Stop making excuses. Time out for the excuses. It's time for you guys to get your heads out of your ass, bro, and play ball. Let's go. I want to accept the excuses. I don't want to hear anything baked in. I don't want to hear any fabricated, you know what I mean, narratives being pushed out there ahead of time so you could say in a loss, we told you. I don't want to hear it. Go out there, bring home the gold, bro. Save your excuses. Bring us home the gold medal. That has been this particular episode, guys. I don't really have a lot more to say on this topic. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, or what your thoughts are. If you haven't, once again, subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell as well to be alerted of when my next videos are uploaded. Until the next episode, blessings.